Just doing another book review here. This is the Rock and Roll Singer's Survival Manual by Mark Baxter. First of all, shout out to Laszlo, hope I'm pronouncing that right, for recommending this book to me. It was definitely a really good read. I think the most valuable part of this book is the back part of it. not like the back, but the last section that talks about knowing yourself and having the right mindset for singing. There's a lot of coaches that have the techniques down, which is very, very important. You definitely need to have technique down so you don't screw up your voice. But he really dug into the mindset of it, and it was just really, really interesting to read about. And I think that was probably the most valuable section of this book for me. I'm trying to look up what the section was called. I think it was just all about yourself. So this book had a couple interesting concepts. There's a couple things I disagreed with though. One was that I believe it said that if you do a sit-up, you tend to lock your throat down, like you do that locking sensation. And yeah, you do, but you can. So the idea behind that was that you don't want to do that when you're singing because you'll lock your throat and put tension on there. And yes, when you do a sit-up, when you lock those muscles down, you will put tension in your throat at first. This comes in with bodily awareness. You have to realize like what's going on in your body and train yourself to tighten up your abs without tightening up your throat. In my opinion, tightening down in the lower abdomen pelvic region, pushing down the diaphragm, is very important for support and using your voice. I think it's very important. And when you first start, it might be really intense. You might really have to lock down those muscles because they're underdeveloped. As you grow, they'll get stronger and they'll be more of like a firm but flexible type feel. But when you're starting out, you have to really lock them down to get the high notes. So I kind of disagreed with the fact that sitting up and clenching down those abdominal muscles will put tension on your throat. I don't really think it will, if you learn how to separate those muscles. All right, it's all about the bodily awareness. So what you can do to break that up is do a sit up and let out a nice even breath while you're doing that. So as you're sitting up, go, and it'll be hard. Probably be hard at first. Some of you might get it first try if you do a lot of physical activity, yoga or lifting weights. And might be no problem, but for some of you it might be harder. So yeah, I kind of disagreed with that, but it definitely brought up a good point that you don't want to lock down the throat muscles. So it was cool that he put it in there. Another thing that was kind of interesting, and this was like one of those things that I wouldn't consider it wrong. I wouldn't say that I disagree with it. I would just say that I have a different opinion on it. Because my take on the voice is that you have one voice with different places of resonance, and you kind of have to use the different modes of the voice to build that up. So you can use kind of falsetto as sort of a stepping stone to build your head voice, and head voice build mix and that stuff. But it's all, I see it as one voice with different places of resonance, but it's all one voice. He sees it as you have different registers, and as you get better, as it gets stronger, you can cross them over. So you can take chest voice all the way up, or you can sing a head voice, or you can sing falsetto, and you can take falsetto a little further down. You can take head voice down. So either way you look at it, it really just kind of makes sense, right? If it had one voice with different places of resonance and the other places of resonance need to be developed, that's almost kind of the same thing. You can almost use the same kind of mindset as having different registers and being able to cross them over, because one voice using the different modes to build it up, or different registers, and getting to the point where you're strong enough you can cross them over. It's kind of all, it's like the same exact idea, just kind of said differently. So even though it's not the way I teach it, and not the way I see it, I can see what he's saying, and I don't necessarily disagree with it. It's kind of cool. It's just like a different take on the voice, So, and this book talks about like diet and all sorts of stuff that can help you out. So I would recommend checking it out. I'm still a sucker for Raise Your Voice by Jamie Bandera. I think that's like the hands down one of the best books out there. But this was definitely a killer book. So, yeah, I hope you guys check it out. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any comments or questions, just feel free to leave them below. I'll be happy to get back to you. And I will see you guys soon.